Welcome back. This is video number 2. We're gonna have up to 3 usually. So let me just admit everybody. Okay, welcome back. Sorry. So here are admit all. Welcome back, everybody. Do we have everybody back? That was Sonia I was talking to, right? Was that Sonia?
Yes. Yes.
Sonia, did you finish our conversation? Do you have any tips for everyone to, especially the new ones, to say during the interview process? What are things that you think should be helpful to them?
And I have this very unique. Actually, it was so strange for me because every time I applied, I'll never get a response, through time. That's why I told you I'm like not so lucky on this. And then this school, the HR, she gave me 4 questions. She gave me in advance questions.
Nice. Nice. They usually don't do that. That's good.
Yeah. And then I answered it all. And then the last question that was in, I know the answer, but I want to verify it. That's why I texted you. There's this other question that's so unique. Like, how would you best deal with an otherwise well-liked or by stakeholders, teachers whose methods of teaching do not result in student understanding or mastery?
Oh, so you are really being asked, what do you do with teachers who are weak teachers? Your colleagues that are weak, what do you do? How did you answer that? How did you answer that?
So I told them that first I will, in my case, if I'm an administrator, always let all my educators do a assessment, especially in language, that I will know the competencies of the students. Then I'll match it with the lessons, the curriculum of the school. And then I told them, because it's like online class, then I will visit weekly for the teachers, evaluate them. And for those who are weak, I will politely inform the educator of the weakness or the loopholes. And then I will scaffold the educator, help him or her in whatever ways. It can be to trainings, conference, one-on-one. If in case the teacher will not do anything about it, still, passive, then as an administrator, I have no choice, but I have to let go of the educator, because it's very important for the students to have a good teacher, because it will affect the state board. That's what was my answer.
You cannot say the last part, because as an educator, as an administrator in the US, because we have a fair teacher law, which means you cannot just fire anybody. Okay, you have to give them. Yeah,
but I told them that there are to be steps.
Yeah, you have to follow. You have the right thing to say is you have to follow the school policy. Okay, you have to follow the school policy that's also going to be following the state law. So you are following what steps to do. A lot of times it's working with a teacher, with the support, and documenting everything. And so everything you do with that teacher is going to be in that teacher's folder, so that that it shows that you are actually working with a teacher. I mean, when I was working as an administrator, I had a teacher that had a file this long. I mean, they were like so happy when this teacher actually decided to retire, because a bunch of the administrators had to work with her, and it's just so hard. You had to be like burning the school before they would even just fire you. But a lot of time you have the Fair Dismissal Act is what it's called, and teachers and principals are protected. And if you are a superintendent, you're not protected. Like a lot of my friends who are assistant superintendent, they changed their title to curriculum director, because if you have the word superintendent in your name, at least in Arkansas, if you have the word superintendent in your name, you're either assistant superintendent, superintendent, or deputy superintendent, they can fire you at will. They could just say, okay, we this is it for you, because they're not protected by the Fair Teacher Dismissal Act. Okay, And so that's, yeah, that's, I think you answered that was good, because you did say something about steps. Just mention that you do
Yes,
follow the
steps.
policy. You do not just randomly fire somebody. You have to always follow the school policy, because obviously you have read your school policy and guidelines and you follow that. So always say that on any question relating to policies and rules. You always say every school has different policies. The first step I should do is always to read the policy and keep it in mind, so that if I have to make important decisions, I do not, and you do not just fire anybody anyway. You have to refer them to the principal, and the principal does that, not you. So everything that you do is to support the principal as an assistant principal. You cannot make that decision yourself. Okay, it's usually more of a committee decision, or if it's a big school, you're going to have a principal with many assistants. So it's going to be a committee of you guys talking. Okay. All right. That's a good answer though. Hopefully you have a shot at it. So if they tell you that, hey, I'm sorry, you did not get it or whatever, you respond to them by saying, if you have any position available as a teacher, I'm willing to take practice tests. Now, practice test is to teach outside your area. If you take a practice test from the ets.org, then you can teach different areas. And so you can tell them that I'm willing to take praxis test, PRAXIS, praxis test, in order to teach on the area that you want me to teach. I'm just really wanting to teach at your school or whatever. Okay. So that's good. Yeah, that's good news for you though. That's good news that you are that you have you had an interview and it sounds promising. Okay. So did you share all 4 questions with us already? Is that the 4th one?
The second one is very easy.
What was it?
Building a positive school culture is a key to moving a school forward. Describe your daily routine to support a positive school culture.
So what kind of examples did you use to make a positive culture?
So I used the COVID-19 pandemic. It was very difficult for us because the school was not prepared and we do not have an LMS, a learning management system. So as a chairperson, I utilized the Google Classroom and the Facebook to teach my students online. Okay. And
by the way, you cannot do Facebook. You cannot say that you are going to teach on Facebook, because most schools are against using Facebook because of its
just a source, it's a tool. Just a tool to communicate with my students.
Yeah, you have to make sure it's a private setting thing.
Yes, it's like only for my students, not for my personal use. I made a Google Classroom and a Facebook account only for my students.
Yeah, you mentioned that, saying that it's not a public, it's a public platform. It's just going to be for me and students for privacy. Yeah, make sure you qualify like that. Okay.
Then in college it's very difficult because there are so many subjects in the Philippines. There are 12 GE subjects. These are the art subjects. And so some of my students will experience INC. So I support them, I help them. If the teachers will not respond, I write personally to the teachers, especially if they're in one class, so that they can have feedback and that they can also have a grade. Yeah. And another thing was that I also created research with my students about COVID-19. We made research online.
But because also though, to set up a classroom environment, you might also want to say about the importance of building a trust relationship with your students. Yes. That each student, you need to make sure that first of the year, you look at their folders and get to know the students. I always took notes of every student in order for me to know something about them. How those comments from the previous teachers, I take notes of those. And then that way you have a start of what you know about the students and then build from there. But yeah, I think one of the answers you might want to include is about the importance of building a trust relationship with the students and of course their parents. But anyway, so you set it up, well, you know them and they know each other. So you're actually doing a positive classroom community with the students knowing each other. I had a morning meeting in mine, and they would be in my rug area, and they would have a morning meeting every day led by my class president. And so I'm able to do my attendance without calling their name individually. That is a waste of time. So while they are doing that, I'm over here I already, of course, showed an example of how to do it. So I was doing my lunch count, see how many's eating, whatever. And then I did attendance, and then I'm also kind of listening to what they're doing. But they have this little student to student interaction. But I was building leadership skills, while at the same time, I'm also having them build their own classroom, positive classroom community, because the rule is what's being said in this classroom stays in this classroom. It's like, the Vegas rule, without saying Vegas, what goes in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of that thing, stays in the classroom. This is a very private, this is like a family. What we say here is something that would stay in the family. And so, yeah, so things like that. Those are good answers that you did. Because you use specific examples.
Then I also mentioned that I made a competition, online competition for all my students. We call it Panagdait. So because we're in journalism, so I made broadcasting competitions in Bisaya, in Filipino, and in English.
Okay.
We had newspaper, news writing, video editing, video production to cheer us up in the pandemic. And I also mentioned that we were hit by Typhoon Odette last December. And all my students got depressed. So I became like a guidance counselor to them to motivate them back to come back to school.
Okay.
Because it was like a month of no electricity in our place.
Oh, wow. So those are good examples. And I love that you always do specific things that really happen to you, because that's very customized answers. And when you mention, any one of you, when you mention something about a competition, you always qualified at the end saying that, because saying that the competition, this is the result of the competition. But at the same time, I also emphasize with my students that cooperation is always going to be expected, although you may be competing initially, but right at the end, really they are going to be cooperating with each other, because competition sometimes. That's right. Because being team building is important, but sometimes competition is motivate students. But at the same time, at the end, I always want to emphasize that cooperation and team building is very important. That they cheer each other, that they respect each other, all that. So you need to qualify that, because some school administrators would look at competition as a kind of a negative thing, because then students are not going to be like not forming a positive classroom community, because they're always competing with each other. So you always want to have a group kind of summary thing, at the end of the activity, saying, this is what we learned, and so on, and yay, so and so team, whatever, let's give them a hand. We build that community of like we're cheering for each other, but at the same time, nobody's going to be a sore loser or a sore winner. We're like, hey, you lose, whatever. You don't want that. You don't want to, you don't want to approve of that kind of attitude, that we are here for each other and we want everyone to succeed. Yeah, so those are good answers. Those are really good answers. Anybody else? We have what else?
It only took about 15 minutes to finish the interview, because it was preliminary. I had a time slot.
Okay, so you were fast then. You were able to share it pretty fast. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I wish you the best, and I'm sure everybody else would want to wish you the best. But if you hear of any results, though, make sure you tell us in one of our meetings.
Yeah. And if I go for second round, I might ask your help.
Yes.
The drill.
I will definitely help any of you, especially you. And I will, because I have been a former administrator, so I have the answers from the U.S. administrator's perspective. Yeah. So anyway, just remember that here in the U.S., they really emphasize having a good relationship with students. You cannot have a teacher who is mean to the students, who's out to get the student. Like, you cannot be smiling, whatever. You have to be mean to the students. You can't do that, although some administrators may tell you that, but let me tell you, it's not working. There's teachers that are very mean to the students. Nobody likes them. And students will always say, oh, I don't want to be in so-and-so's classroom because she's mean. She's not respectful. And so in order to get the respect from students, you have to respect them too. You don't demand it, you earn it. And I always say that to myself, Merlina, you do not demand it from your students, you earn it. You respect the students, and then they will respect right back, you right back. So, and I think that's an important thing to remember, that, and I always, I joke about, nobody died and made you boss. We cannot be bossy. I kind of joke that to my husband all the time. Nobody died and made you boss. But anyway, so as a positive teacher, you have to encourage and motivate students, like your example said. And at the same time, you also, you have that line there that you are still the teacher. You're not really their friend. You're not their friend because you have that line of that protocol, of teacher and student. In the US, that there is a saying that you teach but not touch, because there's a lot of teachers and administrators here that get in trouble for inappropriate relationship with students, especially your high school teachers. We had a somebody that won a Miss Kentucky or Miss something, Miss in the whole state, for example, Miss Arkansas, but she won that, and she became a teacher also, or she was a teacher at that time. And you know what? She's in jail now because she had an inappropriate relationship with her students, with one of her students. And then another one in our state, she was an art teacher, and she had an inappropriate student relationship with another female student. And she got fired, and she's gonna lose her license, I think. So just remember that you teach but not touch, and you respect students, and don't ever, some schools would even tell you, do not befriend your student on Facebook while they are your students.
Yes.
Like that was my rule for myself when I was teaching high school. My students were wanting me to be their friend. I said, well, after you graduate, because I was teaching 11th grade. So after you're out of school already and you befriend me, I will accept you. But not right now, as I'm a teacher and you're still a student here. It's not appropriate, and we are advised not to do that. But so after, when they were in college, of course, I accepted them. But when they start using bad language or whatever in their page, I just unfollow them or block them because I don't like that, And so anyway, it really bothers me without, inside, whenever they use all kinds of bad spelling, especially when I was English teacher, and I'm like, better than this. It bothers me, and I'm like, okay, this person is an adult now. It shouldn't bother you, but it bothers me. And I have unfollowed people for all kinds of bad spelling too, with my former students. But that's me thing. But anyhow, so different schools would have different privacy ruling about Facebook, and some schools have a really strict technology director that would not even let you have YouTube, that would not even let you have Facebook. They are crazy. I always just tell when I do a workshop for administrators, and I always advise them that try to encourage your technology director to be up there in the trend. Right now we want students to use their technology for learning. I mean, you have your technology plan. Every school has a technology plan where they say about how technology is being used, and some policies would be like, leave your phone in your locker, or leave your phone in your pocket. It has to be off, and then during the day. And some kids would go around that, and they are so good at their texting that they would even text like right there in their pocket. They don't have to look at it. So when I was teaching English and I was really doing some important things, I said, okay, hands on your desk. I want to see them. So I don't want it texting while I'm talking, because then you're not paying attention. This is important. This is, and all that. So I guess I was one of the stricter ones that I would expect them to not be texting while I'm having class. But you will see a bunch of students like that. That would be an issue in some schools. So it depends on, you establish that this is my expectation. I do follow rules. And during the first day of school, most schools would actually have you read the student handbook for the rules the first day. That's one, at least most schools that I've worked in, they expect the teacher to kind of summarize what are the important things that you want to, for the students to follow. That's important, because then after you do that, then you kind of make your classroom rules together based on, some of those rules. So you kind of have them to be informed about the big picture, the whole school thing first, and then you do your own, more of a funnel down to you as a classroom. What are our expectations here? Let's do a top 5 things that we need to do. And then that way you can put it on a poster and post it on the wall. And then that one say, you can, for example, number 1 is respect each other. Respect covers a lot. You don't disrespect, you don't hands off other property or other people, whatever, so hands off. So those are kind of general rule that you do. And then whenever they do not follow one, you can say, hey, look at that rule number 3. What does our rule number 3 says? And then you have them to look up like, okay, yeah, we came up with that together. What does that mean? remember? So when we came up with rules, for example, I had them to give examples of a non-example and an example. So what does this look like? What does this not look like? In order for them to know that, okay, this is what this rule is covering this. So when you're involving students with your classroom rulemaking, it's very powerful because they own it. You did not just give it to them. They actually are part of making that rule, so they know what it means. Okay, so you may be asked some questions about discipline anyway. So that could be an answer there, that to start with, they need to be aware of the rules, and we create the rules together, and then I expect them to follow it, and I expect to, and I might, for myself, I also model that so that my students can emulate, can follow what I have modeled. So anyway, okay, so that's good. That was a good conversation there. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Layla. Layla, can you turn on your camera? Thank you again, Sonia. Layla, can you turn on your camera, please, and talk to us? Where's Layla? Did she disappear?
I'm here, ma'am.
Oh, there you go. Where are you?
Hi, good evening.
Okay, there you are. Okay, yeah. Hey, did you learn something about that? You came in later. What did you learn from our conversation there?
What I learned from your conversation is that be persistent, be focused, and be positive always.
Be positive. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I like that you summarize it that way. So, any comment or question? Did you read the J1 visa and beyond that I sent with the invitation? Yes. Did you have some question or comment on it? Did it help you in some way?
My only question is that Brinkley just interviewed me. That was 2 months ago, but I emailed Dr. Pule, but she has no answer with my email.
So what is your area again, Layla? What's your area again? What are you teaching?
I'm an agricultural education graduate, ma'am.
Agri, okay. I'm writing your name down because I'm gonna remind her and see, hey, if you still need somebody, you interviewed Layla. So I will, and Dr. Poole, I'm writing me a note, okay, and see where she is on it. As far as I know, and when you go to her office, she has this big board, and she wrote down like what are the positions that she needed in her school. And the last time I visited her, there was still no somebody in that position. So, and there's not very many either that are qualified. So hopefully she just forgot because she's interviewing so many people, because I think she had, I don't know, Christine, do you know how many positions were available? 7 or 8 positions in that school available? But as far as I know, it's only Christine that's from the Philippines.
Yeah, but actually, Doc, one of my friends, Miss Nieva Junduya, she was interviewed by Dr. Poole and Ma'am Shakita Story last week, I think, for science teacher.
Okay. Then maybe,
yeah,
the science and math teachers and agri, they are very rare here. They're very hard to find. So the science and the math people, you could come here really fast. And for English, that's really lucky, Christine, that you got hired, because a bunch of the schools believe that we need to hire somebody local for the English part, because after all, we are all ESL, English as a second language speaker. And so some schools are thinking that, oh, maybe their accent, the students cannot understand whatever in English. But Dr. Poole doesn't think that way. She thinks that Filipino teachers are really good teachers. So yeah.
But although, ma'am, she is not answering my email, but I'm still very positive that she just only forgot about it. And I'm praying for that position in agriculture.
Okay, well, did you also email Miss Shakita Story, Miss Story?
I haven't emailed Ma'am Shakita because during the interview, Ma'am Shakita was not one of the panel.
Okay.
Because she has another business to attend. I think it's only Dr. Puli and the rest of the team. Okay. There are 4 of them.
Okay, I think in that school, Dr. Poole is very active. It's a small school. So Dr. Poole is very active on the interview. And I think she's a very collaborative leader. So she always collaborate with her administrators. She has an elementary principal and a high school principal. So any decision she makes, for example, for the high school, she will collaborate with Miss Story. So you can email me Story. You can mention to her that you are part of my coaching group, weekly coaching group, and that Dr. McCullough, because she knows me well, Dr. McCullough suggested that I would send a follow-up email to you. I know you were not in my panel, but I just want to introduce to you, first of all, and then you tell her your area and so on, and you can drop name like myself if you want.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
you can
madam.
say in our last coaching meeting, when our weekly meeting, she mentioned that following up is a good idea. And so I realized that administrators there are so busy, like our administrators in the Philippines. So I just thought that I would, send you a line and kind of introduce myself, kind of do that. That way you will be on her radar and she will keep you in your inbox. That way she will address that to whoever when she sees that your email. That's kind of a reminder for them. And I always do that. Oh my gosh, you don't ever say that you are bugging them. You do not bug them. You are not annoying them, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you're squeaky, you're going to get the grease. So sometimes people just get the job because they keep on emailing somebody, or sometimes they lose the job because they're annoying them. So you put a limit to that. Don't be emailing them every week or anything like that. So do not, if you already emailed them, wait for the response before emailing them again. Okay. Try not to be a stalker.
Yes.
I would joke like, I would call somebody, they do not answer, they put me in the machine, and then I would email them, they do not answer. So sometimes I would say, hey, I'm already a stalker in 3 ways here, by text, by email, by whatever. I'm sorry about that, but I really need to get this answer. I would joke like that, but it is, it could be annoying to some people that one person emailing that many times or doing different ways. They know me, they know I'm persistent. So they just, that's just Merlina. They understand that I am really needing this answer now. And so, but a lot of time when I text them, they will text me back, unless they are GEC and they don't text me back. So Leslie, they don't text me back. They don't like me. So anyway, but that's okay. And I think that's very understandable. I'm really thinking strongly to qualify to be a visa sponsor myself, because that way I have control over, and I will know exactly how many spots I have left. But don't share this with other visa sponsors, of course, but I'm really strongly considering it. There are so many steps in order to pass, in order to get to it. And I'm kind of doing some of the steps already. So hopefully I'll end up doing it, because I'm retired. I've got the time, So we'll see what happens. But
We are praying for that, ma'am. We are praying for you.
maybe, thank you. Maybe that's why those visa sponsors don't want to talk to me. They don't want me to be like competition. And anyway, yeah, they really are not very friendly to me. So whatever, I said, when you get to know me, I'm actually nice. So,
yes, ma'am. You're very kind, and you're a big help to us.
well, thank
That
you.
is
I
why.
hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
That's a good news for us, Doc.
Well, I hope that happens. We'll see, right? If God wants it to happen, it will happen. I always believe that,
we are
we're not in
praying for you.
control. He is. Yeah. Well,
Claim
he
it, Ma'am Merlina. Claim it.
Yeah. Woohoo. Okay, let's talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Layla. Hi, Leslie in Interia. Can you talk to us, please? Tell us about your impression, your questions, anything. Did you read about the J1 process and beyond that I sent over a few hours ago? Did you read it? You can say you didn't if you didn't, huh?
Hello.
Yeah, did you read that thing that I sent? It's a long thing. You didn't?
I haven't read the text yet.
Well, if you haven't, you may want to read it, because it actually tells you the step from you being on my list all the way to coming to the US and what happens. I even put down there what happens in the airport, what happens in the port. I included from you being in the Philippines to coming here already. So you may want to read it. I know it's a long thing, but you don't have to read it at one setting. But yeah, I would recommend. Do you have any questions for me? I love the color of your shirt. Do you have any question for us or any comment from what we have discussed so far?
So far, I have no interviews yet.
Not yet. Okay. Yeah, I know people have emailed me. It's like, when am I going to interview? And I always answer, but it's really not under my control, because I'm not the school administrator that hires you. They are the ones that's going to choose you. So what I recommend is that go to that schoolspring.com and actually directly apply to them. That way you'll be in the radar. That's what I would do. I would check that www.arkansas.schoolspring.com. And if you don't like Arkansas, you can change Arkansas to another state, Texas, California, whatever. And then look for the application, you know, the vacancies, and then it will tell you exactly who to send your application to. A lot of times you get in their radar instead of just waiting for the administrators to contact you. You need to be in the radar by being in their inbox. Okay. So that's what I would recommend, is like strongly be proactive. We're about to run out of time again, so we'll be on our last video after this sign out. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I would recommend. Those that are proactive, those are the ones that seem to get it. So tell me, Leslie and Christine, what did you do you feel like helped you to get interviewed? Did you do anything like other than me? I guess maybe recommending because you happen to be my friend.
I just kept on sending applications.
You did. Okay. Now, what's your area again? I forgot your area again, Leslie. Science. You should have an
In biophysics.
yeah, you should have some interview if you keep going. Look for science. They have a shortage of science and math here. So you keep and in your cover letter, you need to really specify that you are that and that, but you can also put that although my subject, my focus area is physics, I can take praxis tests. That's very important to say. Praxis tests in order to teach other areas out of my field. Okay, that you're willing to take the praxis test. You know, it's good. It's a good idea to put that there so that they will not just put you in one thing, physics. You are willing to take about biology or air science, whatever other areas, in order for you to teach those areas, that you're willing to do it. Because you get a waiver, they call them provisional license. You get a waiver and out of field area that they have to do paperwork wise in order for you to teach it. And they give you 1 or 2 or 3 years, I don't remember, maybe 2 years waiver. They call that a waiver. And they are giving you that much time in order to take your test and pass it. Okay. So just mention that, especially, you know, because your cover letter is going to be the one talking to them. So make your cover letter talk to them about you quickly, about what you believe, what's your area, what you're willing to do, like taking a practice test, and what kind of teacher you are. Okay. And you need to put there that you are a team player, you are collaborative, you are dedicated, and you organize, or whatever it is that you want to say there. Say something about yourself in the cover letter, but don't make it too long. Like half the page is about enough, because most administrators would not even read the whole page. And so try to be concise. Christine, I think you did that, right? Christine, you had cut your cover letter after learning from here.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that helped you?
Sorted, precise, and concise. So yeah, I did cut it short.
Cut it shorter. Yeah. So what are the things that you left in your cover letter that you had edited?
I still included the 3 main specific roles and responsibilities that I have as a teacher. I included my teaching experience and how I wanted to teach and touch children.
Yeah. Just remember, you don't touch children, like touch them.
I mean, not literally, but to touch them figuratively, something like that. Yes, po.
You need to say you impact children. You do not say touch children, because that's have a different meaning here now with all the perverts around here. So you want to say you impact the children's lives. Okay. Touch children is becoming a bad thing here now. Anyway. You know what I mean? And I think Leslie was nodding over there. Leslie, you did the same thing, right? You also cut yours. So what did you cut it to? What did you cut it to?
I just did the same thing with Mom Christine. So because my cover letter was too long, and then I kept sending all the principals, and then I got no replies as to my application. So when you told us to cut our cover letter short, I did it right away. And I think it was after a week, I already got an invitation for an interview.
Yeah. Were you the one that was offered 2 jobs? You offered, she was offered from 2 different schools. And I think, well, of course, I'm biased to your school, and you already have somebody there. That school, the other school was nice too. But I think this one, I will be able to go and see you guys. And so it's nice community there. You're going to be close to the others. And so, yeah. The other school that offered you the job, they actually hired somebody to just be like a teacher retention administrator person that will just like help them retain teachers because they're losing teachers a lot. And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, they have. And I'm like, huh? Yeah.
I recommended Ma'am Abigail Lamusaw, Doc, because you told me that if you're going to decline, you have to recommend somebody, and they have interviewed Ma'am Abigail Lamusaw, my colleague.
Yeah.
So I recommended her, and she was hired.
Oh yeah,
actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's a good
And
idea.
she already had her DS 2019 yesterday.
Nice.
So she will have her scheduled for the embassy interview already.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy for her. Tell her that I tell her that she has time on some Fridays. She needs to come in and talk to us.
I
share her
told her
experience.
already, Doc, but she cannot really attend as of the moment because she just gave birth last May.
I forgot. Oh my gosh, how hard is that for her to leave her baby? How hard is that for her to leave her baby? She gonna go ahead and bring the baby on J2?
No, Doc. Actually, she will she was going to bring her husband, but she decided to just leave the baby with her husband, and she's going there alone.
That's gonna be the hardest thing that a mother.
Yeah, she was really like having a hard time as to what decision is she going to make. But I told her that because she was asking me as to what to do, and I told her I will not really tell you to not accept the job offer because you might miss the opportunity to come to the US.
Yeah.
Because everything was already like the process was really smooth sailing, Doc. Her visa sponsor also was being paid by the school.
See?
And she was offered like 45,000
nice.
USD per year. So
that's 2.2 million in our country, for the year.
And she decided right away she will really come to the US.
Okay, well,
she
tell
will miss the
her.
Opportunity.
Yeah, well, tell her that as soon as possible, because I don't think the school would pay for J2 for her family. As soon as possible, she needs to save her money, and I think it cost for 2 people. It cost the J2 to about 3,400. So that's what 3,400. So if she comes up with that and start the process, it might take a few months. So the soonest that she can come up with the money and get it started, as soon as that they get here. Especially with a little baby, they're gonna be the approval percentage should be high because of the baby, and so the younger the child, the faster the approval. It seems like that's what I noticed. But with Annabelle, for example, here, she had 2 teenagers. I think junior and sophomore, I think, in high school, and they were still approved within 6 months. She saved some money and she got her husband and 2 teenagers now here. And so but that's within 6 months. That's when she was able to actually save, because she also was wanting her drive and have her car before they get here, because otherwise they'll be stuck. And so so they did that, and so they're very happily together now, all 4 of them. So but oh my goodness, I feel for Abigail. That's really hard. That's really hard.
It was really hard for her.
Actually,
she has 4 children, though.
Even harder.
And she already has like a high school, in middle school already. She has 1, the eldest, and then she has 3 following.
So she has to save a lot of money, because she has to save a lot of money in order for them all to come.
She really told me, Doc, that if she looks at her children, she felt like she doesn't like to come to the US, but when she she thinks of their future. So
she is. I'm sure she is really tight. She is really like pulled in both directions. But maybe she could do. If I were in her case, maybe I would do the husband and the child, the youngest.
Yes.
And then leave the 3 with the others, and then save some more money and then get the others. Because although she would apply for all her kids and her husband, you have 6 months since the approval to bring somebody here. So even though they approve, for example, in January, you have till July to bring them here. You don't have to bring them immediately. I think that the visa is good for 6 months. So you have so that's why starting immediately for your J2 visa is a good idea. As soon as you can pay for the insurance and for the fees that your visa sponsor will charge. I think it is 3,400 for 2 people. And so once you do that, start immediately. And that's what I told one of the teachers here, because she was also very upset with 6-year-old, 7-year-old. And so now she's got an interview in Manila in July, and she got a ticket already for August. So hopefully, the 2 girls will be here. So the girls were so cute. They were like thanking me. You penned me on Facebook. I said, thank you so much for helping me. That's so sweet. Just made my day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, so I'm so proud of Abigail, though, that she got that job. And she's only maybe 20 minutes